Hey there, world. Gretchen Wegner here. So, I just got done with a session with a student who is a junior in high school. And, students are just now, it's September, so they're just now taking their first tests. And he got some low B's on a number of his tests. We luckily had access to the tests. His teacher, he goes to a private school, and so he was able to bring his tests home. So we were able to look really closely at his test questions and analyze the types of questions that he missed. This is such a helpful thing to do, and it's one of my biggest frustrations that just makes me like tear my hair out. Um, for many of my clients who don't have access to their tests because their teachers keep them. And so, teachers, if you're out there, one big request is if you don't feel like you can let students take tests home, at least please give them an opportunity to go through the test, possibly with you, and analyze the questions. Now, this was a history test. So, with this particular client, I was able to point out that each question is testing a different thinking skill. And he and I made a list together of the sorts of questions that he was getting right and the ones that he was getting wrong. Here are some things that we noticed. We noticed, first of all, that the definition questions, who, what, where, those sorts of things, he got some of those right and some of them wrong. And that's just a memorization issue. So he and I talked about how to work on his memorization. But then we noticed there were another couple questions that were actually cause and effect questions that the teacher was asking him to think about, like what made this historical event happen, and then what was the effect of that. And it's super important when you study, if you're just writing like the definition of the American Revolution, then you're not actually practicing getting to know the cause and effect of the American Revolution. There were another few questions that he missed that were actually looking at, like, what was the problem? What were some problems the Confederacy faced, for example? Or what were the advantages and disadvantages that were a part of this particular person's perspective? And this client who I was working with hadn't quite paid attention to these kinds of questions. And finally, the significance. What's the significance of an event? Why do we care? Why are we studying it now? This can be a really important thing to study as well. So if you're someone who's just used to studying for a test by going through and looking at the bolded terms and writing down the definitions, that's an okay way to study, but you really might want to pay attention to the thinking skill behind the questions your teacher is asking, and looking over the test and actually analyzing what kinds of questions your teacher is asking can really make a difference. Oh, I want to point out that I put these in a bracket right here because these are all higher level thinking. Like, this is kind of simple, like you just have to memorize. But this is asking you to really think more deeply about the information. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.